Hello friends, welcome to Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm here at the Edinburgh Castle. This is going to be a really interesting adventure today. This is a historical building. Some say it's the most haunted building in all of Scotland. I can't wait to go check it out. I'm glad you're here. Let's go. Got our tickets. Here we are, friends. We're inside. I'm standing here on Castle Rock. This is where the first inhabitants of all of Scotland came and lived, on top of this big rock. This is an old volcano. It's just an extinct old volcano. Very rocky, as you can see back here. This kind of looks like a movie set or something at Disney World. It reminds me of, the fake things that we see that look real, but this is the real deal. This building's been around here for a long time. In fact, within the facility, there's several buildings. There's a chapel that is the oldest building in all of Scotland. Looking forward to seeing all of this stuff. So much history here. Beautiful view of the city. Big door. If you'd like, you can purchase an audio guide for a couple euro or a couple pounds. Not much. Some firepower up here. Boom time at the castle. Right over here is this big gun that gets fired off at 1 o'clock every day. Pretty historical reason why that happens. Out here across the water, when all the ships were out here, the boom would happen at the same time every day, and that helped all the people on the ships know what time it was, and across the waterways and through the land. It's kind of like the first version of Clock Tower in the area. We're a little bit late for hearing the boom. I'm sure that is a loud gun though. Let's see what the low defenses are. Some slits over there where the archers would post up and defend the castle. Many people say that this is the most haunted building in all of Scotland. And one of the reasons of that, or one of the ghosts that they say haunts the place, it's got an unfortunate name. It's the Dung Prisoner. He was trying to escape where he was being held captive in the dungeons here, and he buried himself in a wheelbarrow full of human waste. It's disgusting, but if you want freedom, do anything you can to get it. Well, he wasn't successful in that. He kind of was, but really wasn't. They dumped that wheelbarrow full of human waste right over the rocky ledge here, and he fell to his death. As you can see why. It's pretty steep. They say that he haunts this building, and when he's around, you can still smell the dung. What a way to go, huh? Covered in dung and fall into your death. It's terrible. I'd probably haunt the place too. Here we have the traditional medieval snack of toasted marshmallows available. To go right into the rock. The oldest surviving building in Edinburgh, St. Margaret's Chapel. It's the only surviving part of the castle left after Robert the Bruce destroyed it way long ago. Lots of royal family worship happened here in this little chapel. A lot of energy in there. Interesting place. This 500-year-old cannon shot these gigantic cannonballs. They just look like just big stones. Unbelievable. It's starting to rain, so we're gonna try to find an indoor place here. There's lots of buildings. I think 24 buildings make up the castle grounds. Try to make it inside one of them. No filming inside that building, so that's all you get. It was really nice. It's a war memorial for soldiers, of course, and it's a pretty new building. It's built in the 20th century. It's very nice. This courtyard is very nice. It'd be really nice on a sunny day. It's fancy. We have some armor and swords, other weapons of war. That is a big sword. Holy cow. We're celebrating Christmas here in the war room. I apologize, it's the Great Hall, not the war room. Seems like a war room. That's some incredible woodwork there. Lots of visitors at the castle today. Every year, more than 2 million people make their way into the front gates of the Edinburgh Castle. I can see why. 1993. I think the building's a little older than that. It's a room full of royalty. It's a very small room. Now Mary here was a very important person. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you the crown jewel and the scepter that is on display because there's no video allowed in that part either. But I'm not recording here, so I thought I'd take a moment to tell you that she is one of the only female leaders of the country that led her soldiers into battle. She did a lot of stuff. Interesting lady. Let's read some history about her. It's a very historically heavy place we're standing in. Huge fireplace. This would be the private living quarters of the royalty, the royal apartment. Some beautiful inlay work in the woodwork here. All that's left of the 10-story tower that was destroyed by cannonballs back in the 1500s is this one-story building. This is actually where the royal family would have lived. It's adjacent to the building we just came out of. This is it. Looks like a dungeon. Feels like a dungeon. Might be hard to see. There's some tunnels that go way down deep. There it looks like. The crown jewels that you didn't get to see, but we got to see, were buried here for a couple of years for protection. This hole right here is where the cannon would shoot out of, right here in this room. Can you imagine how loud that cannon blast would be in this little tiny room? Well, for 500 years, this was the water source for the castle. 34 meters deep. It was never enough to supply the castle properly. That's a pretty deep well, I would imagine, but it's surprising that that wasn't enough water. I wonder what they did. recreation of what that might have looked like, probably did look like. But this is it. This is where the prisoners were held.
For your regulations. We do what we must.
Down there. I'd like to see what that looks like. Hammock sleeping.
Tu ne le regretteras point, Jean-Louis de Rouc. J'espère bien.
Some dominoes going on here. They're really keeping these prisoners in tight quarters. I asked an attendant upstairs some questions. I asked if there was any like hidey holes in the castle. He says no hidey holes at all. They haven't found any, at least in here. But in a lot of the castles, they did have priest holes where they would have a little secret compartment because the country at the time was Protestant, and if you were caught preaching the Catholic religion, then you'd probably get executed. So they had little secret holes in a lot of the upper level homes and in the castles. And that would operate by like pressing a panel and then the secret door would open. Like you always imagine, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. I would really like to go down there and see what that's like. It's beautiful here. Right outside of the prison is the Royal Wall of Mirrors. There's a couple more buildings on the premises here that we're not going to visit or not be able to visit today. So we're going to make our way out here in a few moments. But I'm going to enjoy whatever we can. And there might be a gift shop or two we drop into. Well, the gift shop is closed, so we will not be able to go in there. That's okay. Now there's one more thing I want to show you before we leave the castle area. It's overlooked by tourists. I'm watching hundreds of people walk right by it right now, not even looking at it, not even knowing. It's the Witch's Well. This is commemorating where many witches were burned. Back in the olden days, as you've probably heard, people believed that witches were very evil and they had this practice of throwing them in the river, and if they drowned, that meant that they were innocent. If they didn't drown and they survived, they would pull them out and burn them right here. And this well back here, this drinking fountain, is there to commemorate and remember the lives of all those witches that were unfortunately lost in history. So, interesting piece of history. It's a plaque right above the well explaining things properly to coin. Thanks for joining me today here at Edinburgh Castle. I really appreciate your company. This has been a really great trip into history, some deep history, one of the most iconic buildings on the planet. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.